Hello and welcome to Open to Work Stories, a podcast dedicated to job seekers just like you who are going through the job search process. And we're giving you a platform to be able to discuss who you are, what you've done, and why recruiters should take a longer look at you. My name is Ryan Smith. I am your host, and today we have a wonderful guest. His name is Rusty Wright. Rusty, welcome to the show.
Ryan, thank you so much for having me today. It's a pleasure.
All right. Well, this is how we do it. We jump right into introducing yourself. So why don't you go ahead and make your pitch?
Thank you. And Ryan, first of all, I want to start by thanking you for creating this platform for job seekers to be able to share their brand with recruiters and other job seekers. And I say that as a brand marketer. I'm somebody who has spent 25 years in global brand marketing, working for some of the world's most renowned companies, companies like Unilever, Coty, Avon, and Mary Kay, working on brands from Calvin Klein and Marc Jacobs, all the way to celebrity brands like Jennifer Lopez and Gwen Stefani. My career, I break into three different segments. I started off in New York in the 90s doing global brand innovation. And what I mean by that is really taking something from the concept and consumer white space through the product development, package development, creative and concept development stage, and delivering it to the markets. And I did that both on the mass side for Avon and the prestige beauty side for Unilever. I then had the second phase of my career, which was completely different. I was an expat in the international markets for the next 10 years. And that was about as opposite from global marketing as you can imagine. It was much more B2B focused, so dealing with the trade, dealing with distributors, managing local PR agencies like publicists, opening up brand new markets like Calvin Klein in China, and really being on the front end with the consumer versus the global ivory tower. In 2011, I moved back to the US for the third phase of my career, helping companies like Mary Kay and most recently Regal Wear really shape and adapt their strategy so that it was not only global, but that it was local enough to be able to adapt and target local consumers. And so now I'm looking for my next great opportunity. It might be in another beauty company out there, but it might be in the broader CPG category. I've not only done beauty, I've also done hard goods as well. Would love to stay here in DFW, but I'm very open to remote or global relocation for the right opportunity. I've lived in New York, I've lived in Singapore, I've lived in Switzerland, and the biggest cultural adjustment was coming to Texas. So I think after living in Texas, I can pretty much handle everything.
That is fantastic. And I just need to let you know that you are speaking to a born and raised Texan. So I haven't lived anywhere else other than Texas. So, if you can make it here, then you can make it anywhere.
We are our own country.
This is true. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about, though, is that it is fascinating within your experience is that you've had the ability to be successful not only in kind of the B2C world, but also the B2B world. And for those people out there, I'd love for you to compare and contrast the difference of marketing within the B2C and B2B space.
Yeah. If you look at my resume on the surface, you might say, oh, well, he's always done the kind of B2C route because he's creating a lot of products for an end consumer. But that route is actually including a lot of people in between. And so obviously, I think of my consumers with a couple of different levels. I always want to understand my first level internal customer, the people that I'm serving within the company first. But then there might be really strong business partners for us. And I had the privilege of working for companies like Mary Kay and Avon that are in the direct selling channel. And that really is more of a B2B model because you're dealing with thousands and thousands of independent representatives or entrepreneurs, business owners, that you need to help them succeed in what they're doing. Yes, the consumer is involved somewhere down the road, but you need to bring them in. And so, anytime that I was creating a product, that was the very first question I would have my team answer was, how does this impact that customer? Not necessarily the end consumer. Yes, that's important, but how does that impact that customer? And in the B2B world, that can be very important. You start thinking about is it going to require more education for them? Is it going to be additive to their business? Or am I just creating some kind of churn for them, some kind of activity that's not really incremental? And so depending upon, what those answers were, really helped at the very beginning to define what we were going to do as marketers.
All right, that's awesome. It's really cool to me because I am my whole career has been in B2B marketing, and so I've never outside of my education, outside of that, I've never really had that experience of business to consumer. So I've always enjoyed talking to people about how they see the two worlds as the same or similar, or where the differences are. So thank you so much for that.
You're very welcome.
One of the things I wanted to talk to you about was, I noticed that you are very interested in AI, and I am a person who is very bullish on the advancement and the development of AI. And so I wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit about, how did you get started in your interest in AI, and kind of where do you see it going, not only in the world, but in your career?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I like to say that, first of all, full disclaimer, I'm not a coding guru. I'm not a Python provocateur, anything like that. What I am is a global marketer. And in my job as a marketer for all these companies I've worked for, I've always been asked to look into the future, look into my marketing crystal ball to try and understand what are the trends and the technologies that are going to impact the way that consumers are interacting with my company, my brand, and my product. And AI was kind of like a train that I could see coming down the tracks a couple of years ago. Actually, I couldn't see the train, but I could see some smoke in the distance and I could hear the whistle. And I knew it was going to be in the station soon. And I knew as a marketer that it was going to change my world, how I did my job, how my company was working. And very importantly, as a manager who tends to manage young teams, I knew it was going to be changing the way my employees, the people that I serve as a leader, I knew it was going to be changing the way that they were working. So I began to learn as much as I could and start to figure out, how can I apply this to my job search, to business process that's out there. And along the way, I was asked to start to speak and teach others, many in the job search community, but I've also spoken for the Public Relations Society of America, the Institute of Internal Auditors, teaching them sort of the fundamentals of great kind of prompt creation. I've migrated into creating custom tools now for myself, but also for other people in the job search community. So, for instance, I've got a custom trained salary GPT that I launched about 2 weeks ago that helps job seekers negotiate. And what I like about this, and I think is applicable for any company or any brand, is your ability to harness these underlying foundational models and train them on your brand, on your product, on your voice, to be able to automate a lot of what you're doing, whether it's social media, whether it's content and writing, or whether it's part of your business process that's out there. There's so many applications for it.
Well, that's fascinating. Question about the GPT tool that you created. Is that something that's
Yeah.
publicly available, or is that something?
Yeah, it's publicly
So
available on
where would
the
people?
on the GPT store. So even if you are a free ChatGPT user, just go to the GPT store, type in salary GPT, and you'll see mine at the top. And it will do a couple things. It will help you to evaluate your new compensation package versus your old compensation package. It will give you some tips and guidelines. It will give you links to templates where if you just want to drop in things manually, you can do that as well. And it's an aggregator of some of the salary research tools like salary.com and the Bureau of Labor Statistics that are out there. So it can help you to research your salary to create benchmarks as well.
Wow. It's amazing what can be done now. Like that is really, really cool.
So Ryan, you will appreciate
Okay.
this is, again, we're
Okay.
we're tasked with looking at trends and understanding how does this, impact how we create products. Well, one of the first things that I did last year was create a custom GPT that is actually pre-trained on a lot of the macro trends that are out there. So not the things that change from day to day or week to week, but the bigger societal trends that are out there, whether it's movement towards packaging efficiency or the convergence of functionality in products. So I trained it, and now I've got a tool that's multimodal because you can use the vision functionality to take a picture of a product and then have the GPT analyze it, understand what trend it's coming from, and then get it to ideate on variations of your own brand with that trend or with any of the other macro trends that are out there. So a really powerful tool to kind of understand the trends that are happening around us, but then also to ideate on different ways to go forward with your own brand.
Wow. So what it sounds like to me is that you've created kind of a chat GPT that says this is what's cool, and if you want to be cool like this, then these are the steps, these are the things that you should do with your brand to be able to catch this wave before it hits the shore.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's a very generous way of saying it. It is an aggregator of all of this information that's out there on trends and helps to pull it together so that you can analyze things really quickly and then design and ideate very quickly as well.
All right, all right. I want to change the direction a little bit because we're getting into now some of the holiday months, and for job seekers out there, it can be difficult to be able to navigate holidays like Thanksgiving or Christmas whenever you are in the job search process. So, talk to us a little bit about how you've kind of weathered those storms.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're absolutely right. Job seekers are going to see that there is going to be a period that sometimes happens just after Thanksgiving where things start to slow down. First of all, try and keep going because you never know when that bolt of lightning is going to strike. So I have seen lots of people land during the month of December. But on top of that, I would say there's a great opportunity to do a lot of other things, especially networking with people who are in jobs. The holiday season tends to slow down for a lot of people at work. People start taking vacations, and they might have more free time to grab that coffee, that drink, or that lunch that maybe they weren't able to do so easily during the fall season. So a good time to do your networking. Definitely take advantage of that period and keep grinding.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the most important. That's all great advice, but most importantly, keep grinding, keep your chin up, keep working, keep going, because you never know. I think that's the best point: is you never know when it's going to land, and if you're not there whenever it's time, then you can't take advantage of the opportunity as it comes.
Prime example. 2 days ago, my funnel was completely empty. I was saying, "Woe is me." And yesterday, two lightning bolts, completely out of the blue, on the same day came at the same time, wanting to know how quickly I could interview for things. And that's the way it tends to happen, not just to me, but to most of the folks that are out there.
There you have it. There you have it. Let's go ahead and wrap up. So, Rusty, thank you so much for being on the show. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the folks out there?
Yeah, no, Ryan, again, thanks for having me on. I think you've got a great tool here. I hope it connects a lot of people in the future. I think connecting is my word of advice for everyone. Work your network out there. Yes, do the LinkedIn and do the Indeed and all that stuff, but work your network and keep it going even after you've landed. You're going to meet so many great people along this journey, people like Ryan, but you're going to meet so many great people that are out there, and you're going to want to keep those relationships going because the odds are this may happen again sometime in your lifetime, and you want to have the tools in the toolbox, when the time comes.
All right. Well, thank you so much. You have just met Rusty Wright. He is an expert leader in marketing. He has done B2B, B2C. He has done international. He has worked all over the world, and he is becoming an expert GPT creator and doing all kinds of things in emerging technologies like AI. And most of all, he's open to work. So reach out to Rusty, reach out to me. We are going to keep this train going. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Open to Work Stories. We'll see you next time.